that?
Okay. Should I join in with my other dummy account because it's showing me that the session is now live?
Yes, yes, absolutely. So I think now we should be streaming. I'm just gonna check if we are streaming.
Yes, you are, but I'm still not there. Let me select my video again. Okay, still not yet.
How come you can't? How come I can't make you have your video? So I am just thinking, I need to check this.
Yeah, because here when I click, it says you can't start your video because the host has stopped it.
Okay, I didn't stop it, but I guess I need to either put a rule. What about now?
Sorry, hold on. I was checking the options on the... it's still giving me the same thing. Should I end the call and come in again, maybe?
Yeah, try again. I think I...
Okay, let me go out. I'm coming back in.
I see you as a guest as well. So...
Yeah, that's on my laptop. That's the dummy account. Okay, I'll leave this session.
Oh, wait, try it. Wait, don't walk out yet.
Okay.
Try now.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I feel like we did it. Like I feel like newbie on the Zoom.
Let me see
Newbie on the
other side. Okay, so right now, it jumps to the person whoever is speaking. Like now I'm speaking, I'm full screen. Please say something.
Right. Let's see if I would start speaking.
Yes.
Do you see me as a full screen?
Yes.
I see you as my full screen either way.
It jumps to the person who's talking. So I guess you can either change that as well if you want to keep like both panelists or if you really want to keep this, but this is what it's doing. It jumps to the person who's talking.
Okay, let's da, 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 da. How is that? Let's see. Gallery view. What do you see now?
Let me go on the dummy account. Okay, so I see you, but I don't see myself.
Let me spotlight everyone. What do you see now?
I see you, and that you were talking.
Okay, then we need to fix that.
Okay, let's see what will happen now.
Right. Do you see anyone who has joined?
No, not yet. It's just us.
It's just us. So it might be... Okay, I'm just gonna... Anyway, we can give it about 5-10 minutes or something like this. And then we'll see how to...
Okay. Because on my panel where I'm able to switch to the gallery view and really have us there. But here with the participant, he just sees you at the moment. So Q&A, open, answered, dismissed. Those are nice options.
Oh, but we do have people watching. We have 3 people on Facebook. Hi, guys.
Hi.
And we do have somebody from YouTube watching as well. Right. It might be that when it comes to the attendees, that they just see us speaking, which is fine. And we run it as a training session. And in case somebody has questions, you can always type it then to Claudine,
Absolutely.
and we see how to proceed. Okay, how are we doing?
So right now you are the main person. It's no longer jumping to my screen anymore. It just shows that I am talking, but it's not jumping to my screen.
Okay, what about now?
Okay,
I
it's still
changed it to active speaker.
okay. That should actually do the trick, but it's still showing me that Claudine is talking, but there's no video.
Really? That's so strange. Let me see. Um oh, there we go. How's that?
Okay, let's try that and see.
I see two views. What do you see?
So my panel, it's fine. I have you and I have me, and then oh, now it's actually jumping to me when I'm speaking. Can you try and say something?
That's perfect. That is exactly what you need. If I show my screen, actually, um, I can see both of us.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, so on my screen as well, I can see both of us, and on the actual, it's actually the person who's talking, which is fine.
Okay. Okay. That's good. That's good. I'm just gonna make this a little bit bigger and going to see if I can share my screen there.
Okay.
Right. Um,
By the way, are you able to hear any notifications coming on my laptop?
yeah.
Okay, let me switch this off. Because it's my notifications. Let me see if I can mute them quickly. Okay, this should be okay.
Okay, perfect.
Maybe you can try and send me something quickly on WhatsApp and we see if it really deactivated my desktop WhatsApp.
Let me see, just a moment.
Okay.
I think it is deactivated.
Yes. Okay, perfect.
It is deactivated. Right. We'll give it a bit of time. Just gonna check if everything is running. Just gonna quickly mute myself.
Okay.
So there are some people on Facebook, and I guess we waited a bit of time to have them come in directly into the Zoom as well.
Okay. And I can see one more attendee on the webinar side.
Okay.
Hi, Wimbai.
Ah.
Okay. And I can see one. Okay, I think I
Let
need
me
to.
share. Can you share the Zoom link with me so that I can paste it to Facebook for Yamurai?
Yes. Where do you want me to share it with? On your email?
On Zoom here in the chat if we can. Because I see that they
Yes, sure. That's the link.
one attendee.
Yeah, that stays Wimbai Hover. Hover. Oh my goodness, excuse me if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. Wimbai. Okay, she's now here with us.
Okay, perfect. You shared the link, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
let
did.
me just take it. Let me... Hi, Yemu. I just put the link in Facebook and you can join us directly. It's going to be a smaller group on the Zoom, which is fine. The session is going to be available as well for longer. But we're really going through some good times. I'm looking forward, Claudine.
Yes. Do we still have some people on YouTube? Maybe if they can bear with us a bit.
Yeah, if you can bear with us. I guess I'll try to play our like little intros on this before I share the screen itself. Let's see. Now I lost the whole. Okay, I'm gonna share the screen really quickly.
Okay. Yes, we can see that.
Okay. Okay, that was very quick and short. Just a little happy Valentine's. Happy Valentine's, Vimbai. That's family.
um,
Are you able to speak?
I think she's on mute.
All right.
Maybe she can unmute herself.
Yeah, we can try that. Can try that. Can you still see my screen?
So on the Zoom, I see the video, and on the actual link, I see the webinar. I see the presentation actually on this side. Did I click something? Let me see. Live session is ready. Hold on. Okay, now I can see both things. I just moved on to the presentation.
Okay, okay. So I would just quickly close that and move this. Can you see now the screen itself?
Yes, I can see the blue screen and the slides.
You see the presentation now, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm just gonna wait for Yemurai if she can make it. If not, that's also fine.
Attendee on the webinar side. Okay. Hi, Wimba.
Hello, Pimbai. Can you unmute yourself if that's possible? How are you doing? We're doing a round of small introductions before we start. Thank you for joining us. That's actually okay. Then Claudine, let's do the following. Let's I guess continue and see what we can cover, and whatever will be used, I guess we can repurpose the webinar itself, right? Because I believe a lot of people saw that. I think it was going to be streamed and are viewing from the streams. So
Okay.
I guess we'll go with that for now.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you see anyone on the page?
Not at the moment. Let me check on the
Okay.
page. Not at the moment.
Okay, that's okay. Just put out a note that we have started. It might be that the timing is a little bit confusing because it says 5 p.m. GMT, 6 p.m. CET. So it might be that the time is a little bit confusing.
So Yemurai just joined us. Hi, Yemurai. Glad you could make it. Okay, I think Yemurai is now also on the Zoom.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Hi, Amurai. Can you hear us? Are we able to unmute her, or she's not able? Is she able to speak actually?
She should be able, because I can see she's not on mute. Or maybe you can just drop us a message in the chat box, Yemurai, and then we can see if you guys can hear us. Okay, she's in the chat box, Yemurai, and then we can see if you guys can hear us.
All right, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, we're doing well. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you. So I guess everyone can hear us now.
Happy Valentine's. So I've lost the page we had. Just navigating too many bars.
Welcome to Zoom calls. This is what we're always dealing with on a daily.
Okay, so are you able to see my screen actually?
Yes, I can see your screen at the moment, but you're currently not sharing anything. Oh, thank you, Yamirai, for the message in the chat box. I can see that. For the sound confirmation. Okay, now we are able to see the presentation, Claire.
Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah, anyhow, we have about, I think, till 1:30 in order to really start. The session itself is about 1.5 hours. So thank you so much for joining. I think a lot of people saw that it would be streamed and joined the stream. So we're just trying to coordinate that the Zoom link is available as well. Maybe we can try with Vimbai again, if she can hear us loud and clear.
Yeah, so far I can see she wrote on the chat. Maybe Mumbai, where are you joining us from? That will also be interesting for us to know, since we have 3 different time zones at the moment.
Hi guys, how are you?
We are good. How are you, Bimbai?
I'm fine. I'm joining from Zimbabwe.
Oh, Zimbabwe.
Yes.
How is it? Is it sunny and beautiful as always?
It's raining. It's raining.
That's good. That's good. We always
Thank
want
you.
rain.
Today I will be on mute up until I know what's going on, you guys. Until meet next time. Today I'm just a new person.
Oh, we appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Thanks for supporting. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'll let Claudine on the secret. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Yemu. Thank you, Vimbai. I appreciate both of you joining us. And I think if we're a smaller circle today, that's also quite nice. I think it'll be quite exciting. And we'll get right into it. Should we start? Let's start, right?
Yeah.
I would say, oh yeah, or we can wait as well a little bit, or we can start now.
I think we can start. We're ready to go.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much, guys. Welcome to our very first webinar for bold women leaders. The whole concept is to have an academy that allows women to come together to discuss leadership, and to power us to speak on topics that are important for us, especially in the professional sphere. But we prepared together with Claudine is we have a session that we will do today, and it will really be building up on the year. So we will touch on setting intentions, because in the beginning of the year, I think a lot of people know people love to set New Year's resolutions, and we always hear people, going all out on their New Year's resolutions. And then at the end of the year, a lot of people discover that they've actually not completed their goals, or what they set out to do. So, in this session, we will be really going into how you can support your intention setting, and also assessing how are you doing with the people around you, and how do you drive impact and more action. So the first webinar today is really focused on those 3 pillars, and we'll dive into very interesting parts. And please, we will beg you even to unmute at some point in time because we want it to be interactive and we want to discuss really what matters to you and to serve you. Because I think the fact that by you're spending live time with us today shows that we can be able to support each other on certain things that you're also, trying to achieve. You don't have to tell us your deep secrets, but what we want is to just have a space where we discuss methods that can be used to drive action. So this is what me and Claudine will do, and we put it out in 3 parts. So we'll start by introducing what exactly is it that we are doing. I hope that you can see the slides. I hope you can see it. So the organization itself is Clior Larni, the foundation. I think a lot of you will see that. Clior Larni is basically something we built that represents women who are powerful. And I think Claudine, please step in here, because in the last rooms and meetings we had, a lot of men even told us that their role models are women. Role models are women, because women are so powerful. Women are caring nations. So this is why the whole brand itself represents being bold, being authentic. And I think a lot of times the word elegant can be misunderstood, but it really means being graceful and walking in your full power, being fierce and free, and allowing ourselves to be women um, in any matter of way. So it's really being bold, authentic, and elegant. And welcome to this platform. I'm so excited to host you and many others who will come. It's our first session. We have had really good times with a lot of people, and I'm so happy to welcome you today. So this is the foundation, the Clior Larni, and because a lot of people want to know who they're dealing with, we also put a little snippet of who we are. We will be leading you through the session. I'm Clare Rudo. I really don't care about titles, but this is in a nutshell what I do. I am in the corporate. I find myself being one of the only women in the spaces that I am in. I'm currently based in Europe. I'm born in Zimbabwe, and I'm just a jack of all trades. I can do anything and everything as long as I find meaning in it. And that's why I'm here today. And I would like to present to you Claudine, who is my co-host and my partner in the business as well.
Yeah, thank you, Claire. So, hello, everyone. I am Claudine. I am so excited about this session also today, because I feel like it's a very, very important discussion to have, as Claire was saying, especially now in the beginning of the year, because what we're going to touch on today is basically the foundation which you need to be actually successful in whatever you have set your mind to do this year. So yeah, a little information about me. I'm also from Zimbabwe, and I'm currently based in Germany. I am a tax consultant by profession, and outside of work, I just love to dedicate my time to helping other people. So I do a lot of voluntary work, and I still do a lot of work for my university. And that's just me in a nutshell. And yeah, I look forward to today's session.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And of course, we don't want to talk just about ourselves. So we're going to ask the people who had the honor to join us today to introduce yourself, not to put you on the spot, but we would really love that. And it is such an honor for us to have you. Vimbai, Yemu, floor is yours. Maybe you can start with Vimbai and then go to Yemu. Can you hear me?
Maybe she's still looking
Hello.
for the unmute button.
All right. Yemu, maybe if you're ready, if you'd love to introduce yourself, we'll be happy and honored.
All right. Hi, guys. My name is Yemurai. I'm from Zimbabwe, and I'm in Zimbabwe right now.
Oh,
I'm a lecturer at the University of Zimbabwe, and I'm a mother of 3. You hear some noise. The kids are really playing now. So yeah, that's all about me.
oh, thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you so much. I'm so proud of you, Yemu. I've been following your journey.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Perfect. Vimbai. Mama Vimbai, are you there? Okay, I think she's still on mute, but I can briefly say a little bit. Mama Vimbai is actually part of family. She is the powerhouse of our household. She's actually my mother's sister supporting me today. And she is really who I look up to be honest. She's in the construction, she's into law, and I'm so happy that you were able to join us as well in the panel as well. So thank you so much. Right. Claudine, you can walk us through the what we will do today before we jump into chapter 1, I mean.
Yes, so we built the webinar in 3 pillars, as Claire was saying. So the first part really is all about understanding self, to understand who are you, to understand your co-circle, because that is really your starting point to first look at yourself. And then once we have touched on that, we'll then move on to interactions to actually say how can you dive into your interactions and be more intentional. So we will walk you through that. We'll give you some tools, and we'll also give you some examples really from all walks of life, not only corporate, but also from family life and day-to-day social situations, because what we are talking about today is not only for the workplace, but it applies to all areas of your life. And the last chapter is about impact, whip strategy, drive, how you can start from today, because we want you to be able to walk out of this webinar with actual tools and have take points and actions and steps which you can begin to implement. And yeah, that will be it. Next slide, please, Claire. Okay, so I'll hand this one over to Claire to describe the journey for you guys.
Thanks. I think because we're a small group, we will make this session much more compact, and in areas where we need to deep dive, we will do so. So we're hoping we'll use the hour, and really we're starting with where we are today, right? Just helping you and anyone who's watching to dive into where are you now? How do you map it out in order to, showcase how do you get to where you would like to be in a structured way, and to help you map that and to also align you with the right people. So this is our goal for today. And I will just quickly dive into the self part. So please feel free to interrupt where there are questions, etc. But the whole starting point is really allowing us to dive into the self, right? Who are you really? And in order to do this, I think just for the sake of the group that we are in, I'll just dive us into the three parts. What we will show is a method that can be used to dive into self, which is you always have a starting point. This is who I am today. This is my environment. And these are my personal circles. This is my network. That's how it's living and breathing together. And for this, we will dive into self. I hope you guys are ready. We will not have the breakup rooms because of the Zoom link, because most people are streaming, so are watching online. What we will do is we'll dive into 3 fundamental questions that we strongly believe are important when you want to understand, you know, how you are currently navigating in your landscape. What I would do, because Yemu, your mic was working, we will spar the 3 of us in order to do the first question. And the first question really is, during this whole week, because we are on Sunday, we know February has been that month of love. A lot of people are talking about happy Valentine's. Some people are like, don't Valentine's me. Some people have the Stingy Man Association. Yes, it's actually a thing. And some people have Palentine, and some people are like, don't Palentine me, I'm Malentine. So you have all these things happening. For some people, it's important. For some people, it's not. So in this round, what we always advise people to do is to start with, what are the most dominant thoughts that come up? And in order to slice that in an edible way, start with a week. What were things that you thought of from Monday to today that were constantly popping up? Things that didn't make you sleep at night, things that made you want to, I don't know, go into conflict. What were the most dominant thoughts? We can share in the round. And because we're a small group, Yemo, I know your mic is working. Vimbai, please, I hope your mic is also working. And then we can spar on this together. So Claudine, I'm really curious, what was the most dominant thought of your week, man?
Well, with me, it always starts with work, honestly, because Sunday night, it's always about planning the week, trying to decide what tasks do I have, which are upcoming, what do I want to prioritize. So, yeah, my first dominant thought was centered really around work on my current project, to say, how do I get ahead this week? Which appointment do I need to schedule? And what do I want to bring into that appointment? That was my first dominant thought. My second dominant thought was about, how do I structure my time? Because I found that I am so busy. The year is just starting, but already I am so busy. So I was like, how do I structure my time better? What are the things that I just need to let go of or push to the back of my to-do list? And my third dominant thought really was about the projects which I want to take on, because the year is starting, there's a lot which is coming through. So it was also about that, to say, okay, of these things which are being thrown my way, what do I really want to take on? So yeah, those were my 3 thoughts. My work project, scheduling my time, and which project to take on my personal space.
Oh, I love that. Thanks for sharing that. So you have a lot that you're juggling that you now want to frame and structure in such a way that it's intertwined. Thanks for sharing that. Guillermo, if you're still there, maybe you'd like to share with us what are your dominant thoughts, throughout the week.
Oh, okay, thank you, Claire. My dominant thoughts, family, work, and work. Yeah. So I started this year on a bad note. I got infected. I had COVID. And with my husband, but my kids were okay. And my dad also had COVID and sadly passed on the 14th of January. So I hadn't been myself for quite some time. So starting Monday, last week, that's when I really wanted to pick myself up and start again, So I've been thinking, now my family is okay. My mom is okay. And I'm now thinking of preparing for the next semester with the students that we teach, and they're also preparing for the exams, just trying to pick myself up and start again.
Oh, my
wow.
condolences,
Condolences.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Oh man, and thank you so much that you are able to still come and be with us. How are you feeling in terms of physical fitness right now?
Well, now I'm fine. I'm perfectly well. I'm now negative, and I can now go to work, and as well as my family members, and also my mom. She's now okay. She's recovering. So I think that's why I now have this energy to really pick myself up and do something.
Oh wow! Oh wow! Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, but it's okay, guys. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And I mean, what I gather, what I hear from you is new beginnings and really going through this. If it's grief, if it's opening up a new leaf, opening yourself up to what's coming, given what is happening.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, Vimbai,
All right, thank you.
two of you. Wimbai, if you're there, if you'd like to unmute and share what your thoughts were for the week. Okay, I think she is out and about. Right. You know what? Because it's not a fixed line. I think based on what we shared, what I would share is I think you echoed some of the things that were on my mind. For example, Claudine, in terms of structuring, um, balancing out work, juggling so many things at once. And yeah, Mariah, liked what you said in terms of, new beginnings, that even in those tough moments, finding the energy to turn a new leaf and to start afresh. I think based on what was shared, one of the things, it doesn't need to be extensive, but if you look at the things and the thoughts that you had, um, most of the time we either need people to support us, but there's also a core element and strength within us that keeps us going. From myself, sometimes I find the will really comes from the motivation to do the most as the firstborn, in the family. Sometimes, like, it's sort of that root element that pops up and again, that to be exemplary and things like that. And when you consider root elements, what some people do is they really open up a new page. And I like you, Murai, you said, well, I'm opening up new beginnings. And what you would do is to write what are some of your core strengths that have kept you going throughout the week, that you will need as you now, either it's structuring your work, balancing it out. I know sometimes, Claudine, you've been like, you are super efficient and you use that word a lot. That's a root element. And Yemu, my gosh, I feel like you are a woman who you have you are extensively well studied, you are back home, you have traveled as well, you have seen culture, and you have matured in such a way that you're able to even tell your story and say, guys, you know what, it's fine, you're grieving, but that's the new page. And I don't know what root element you would call that, but up to you if you'd like to share it. It's also open. Claudine, Yemo, if you want to share what you think is your core root element.
I think I'll have to second you actually, because what you've identified is very accurate for me. It's just my structured way of working. That's my root element. The fact that I am able to structure things and follow through. So maybe that's also the discipline to be able to structure things and follow through them. That is really my root element. And in whatever I do, I find that if I lean back on that, then I do well. So yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All I can say is like what the previous speaker has said, yeah, discipline to work. Yeah, that's how I am as well. And I'm also determined. If I say that I want to do this, I do this, I do it. So now that I have said I want to do something, I'm starting again, I'm going to do so.
Oh man, I love that. I love that. I'm gonna hold you guys accountable, like coming after a month and be like, guys, remember what you told me? Remember what you told us? Oh man, that's
Please.
beautiful. And moving into the third question, I mean, the third question is usually a much more deeper question, and honestly, this webinar is just touching the surface. We're going to share the slides, and it's an exercise that one can do in depth, and it's really answering the question of what do you want to be known for. What are some of the things that if something was to happen to you, touch hood, um, and you pass on, how do you want people to remember you? Or even in conversations, how do you want to leave that space? And when you're saying, hey, I want to have my work structured, I want to start a new page, what do you really want to be in all that? And I think it's a question, I would not do it justice if we dive into it now. I would say really the slides will be present, and i i I see it as an exercise that one really needs to take moments to think about, and really not base it on the environmental circumstances or the family or whatever it is, but really from deep within, what moves you? Because I see most of the women here, actually all of us, are very determined, are very much ambitious, and very much into, I want to do stuff. And so it's not something I'll let us dive into, but this closes my session on diving into self. Those three questions to guide you as you go through your week, in the next weeks, Yemu, as you open up your new page, starting, I will not say afresh, but starting a new light. And Claudine, as you're restructuring your the balls that you're juggling, the different things that you have coming to you as you get more responsibility in that. And I will give it up to Claudine, who will lead us into what I find to be a very important one, um, especially from a cultural perspective as well, where sometimes we don't evaluate the relationships we have, be it family, friends, or whoever. So we'll dive into that as well, being more intentional with the interactions that we have as we're growing. So Claudine, thank you so much, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Claire. I'll still rely on you, please, to be moving my slides, but
Sure.
I'll let you know. Thank you.
Sure, just give me a ping. Yeah.
So yeah, the second pillar really is about your interactions and how you can dive into them and be more intentional. So before we even start, I must say that the power is always like within you. In order for everything to work out, you always have to take the first step and really take control before anything can fall into place. There are no miracles in life. You always have to really work hard, apply yourself. So diving into your interactions is also important so that you can really get like the full package from all your relationships, be it at work or at home or with your kids, actually. So the concepts which I want to share with you guys today, you can actually apply them in every aspect of your life. So we'll move on to the next slide. So the very first important step when we talk about intention is what I like to call thoughtful time. Because if there is no thought in your decisions, then there is no intention. You are just walking a blind line. You do not have any direction. You do not have any focal point. So before you do anything, it is always important to have some thoughtful time. Now, someone may think I'm talking about an hour or 2 hours. Not necessarily. Thoughtful time can be anything from 30 seconds to a minute, or to really 30 minutes where you take time to reflect and really go deeper. I'm sure you're also aware of the phrase where they say the best dialogues are those with longer pauses, because the other person is actually taking time to think before they respond. So thoughtful time is something which is very important. But then how do you apply this in your interactions? It is very important to identify the interactions which you have at the moment. And from all those interactions which you have, you will discover that you have different intentions, you have different feelings, and also your behavior is actually different in all those situations. So I'll give you an example, since I know that we have mothers here in the house. Yemurai, given one of your kids is starting at a new school and there's a parent meeting, and you are going to attend that meeting, there could be the question, what is your intention for attending that meeting? So you need to ask yourself, what do I need from this meeting? Probably,
Claudine,
yes.
just also a note from Vimbai. So she wasn't able to speak, but she just wrote down, this week, my main plan this week is going back to work after long lockdown. She lost her boss in January due to COVID as well. And so they had a delay in order to mourn him. And this week, she's going to be more deeper into strategic meetings to see how the direction of that. So if it's something that you can also bring into the conversation for her.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for sharing that with us, Vimbai. So yes, I'll finish with this first example, then I'll also bring in Vimbai's example as well, so that everybody is very clear about what we are talking about. So I was on the first pillar, which is intention, to say, for every interaction which you're going to have, ask yourself, what do I need from this interaction? And maybe I can put the word interaction aside for a minute because it can confuse some people. Let me just say a conversation. Ask yourself, what am I going to need from this conversation or from this meeting? Once you've penned that down, you can then decide, do I have any side ones in this? Because I find that usually when you have a side one, some people like to call it an ulterior motive, but I do not like to use that phrase because it's very negative. Usually when you have a side one, you will find that in your communication, the side want will also come out. So I gave the example of you're a parent, your child has started to attend a new school, and you go to this parents' meeting. What you need is probably to identify the other parents in the school, identify their parenting styles and skills. And now the side want would probably to be able to identify the parents where you could have play dates with, parents who you could organize some parties or activities with. And it's always important to know, what do you want to accomplish? So especially for Wimbai, she's going back to work this week. So this will be very important for her. She can ask herself, what do I need this week when I go back? So which interaction is she going to have? So since her boss has passed away, probably there is someone else who is taking the place, and you probably, this is the interaction which you're going to have. So now you need to ask yourself, Bimbai, what do I need from this conversation? Is it about the direction of how my job will continue, how my duties will be allocated? This could be a question which you want to know. And also, if you have any side ones, is there anything which you want to bring up around your job, which you feel you could actually bring into this meeting as well? And then what do you hope to accomplish? Because this is always important to know, what is my end goal? If you're going into a networking meeting and you know that I want to get a business card at the end of the day, then if you are at that networking event and you have not received the business card, you will know, I have not yet reached my goal. I still need to dive back in. I still need to talk to some more people because I wanted to come out with a business card. So this is always the first step. The second step, which is very important, is to look at your feelings and ask yourself, how do I feel? How do I want to feel? And how do I want this person to feel? So be it interactions with your friends, with your parents, with your boss, with someone else who's taking over, ask yourself, how do I feel? And how do I want to feel? And what type of feeling do I want to convey to the other person? Because this is very important. So if you are going to a meeting and you want to feel like you can trust your business partner, the way you will act will definitely be different as to if you are going into a social setting and you are going to be mingling with people who you do not yet know and you don't feel very safe interacting with them. So if you feel like I'm not yet safe with this person, it means that your conversation will be more guarded. But if you know that I want this person to trust me, it means that you will be more honest in your conversation. So these questions are really important to ask yourself before you go into that conversation so that you actually know which direction it will take. And also remembering how you want the other person to feel is very important, because during the conversation or the interaction, you can always tell if you are accomplishing what you set out to do. And then the last thing is always the behavior, to say what specific activities am I committed to and what activity do I expect from the other person. So I've already given the example of the business meeting. When you're going in and you've said, I want to ask for the business card and I hope to receive the business card back, that's a specific activity which you've set your mind to. If you do not have a specific activity, you would have just wasted your thoughtful time because you would have reflected on it, but you don't really have a plan. So at the end of the day, you will dive into that interaction, but you will still come out feeling empty because you did not have a concrete plan. If it's with friends, you can also apply it that way. What specific activities are you committed to? Do you want to come out saying to that friend, listen, I would like us to be going to the gym at least twice a month, and the friend also confirms to you and gives you their dates? Then when you meet that friend and have the conversation, you will know at the end of the conversation if that interaction has actually been intentional on your part or not. So Wimbai, I see you wrote something in the comment section. You're welcome. I'm glad that what I said was able to help you. So to sum up what I just said now with thoughtful time, it's always important before you dive into any interaction to look into your intentions and know what you want to achieve, to look into your feelings, how you feel about it, and then also to ascertain your behavior, what type of activities you want to do and what type of activities you expect back. So I hope that was clear. And now I will move on to the second part of diving into your interactions. Claire, can I please have the third slide? Thank you. So before we move on, I actually had a question. And the question was, what are the 5 most important interactions which you're going to have next week? And I believe this is so great because we've already managed to answer some of it. So with Wimbai, I believe we've already identified that she's going back to work after she has lost her boss. So definitely she's going to have maybe an interaction with whoever is in charge. For me, that is a very important interaction. Maybe your second important interaction which you're going to have, Wimbai, is with your work colleagues. Maybe 3 of them, 4 of them. I'm not sure how big your office setup is, but these are some of the most important interactions you're going to have this week. So ask yourself, what is your intention with those work colleagues? What is your intention with the person who's now in charge? And maybe for your Murai, since you have kids, maybe your kids will be part of the most important interactions which you are going to have this week. Maybe your husband is also part of the persons who you're going to have the most important interactions. So you ask yourself, what is your intention with your kids? You probably want them to know that you are there, you are supporting them, you are there to support them when things are difficult. And you look at your feelings, how are you feeling? And you look at the behavior. What type of activities do you actually want to do with your kids to actually show that you have been very intentional in your interactions? So that will be the exercise. And maybe I'll go to Claire as well and ask her to give us 2 of her most important interactions which she thinks she's going to have in this coming week. Claire?
Yeah, thanks a lot. I just lost battery to my video, so don't mind me if you cannot see my video anymore, but it's going to come soon. So what are the 2 most important interactions, right?
Yes.
2 most important interactions. I honestly think one is with myself, because I think most interactions, at least I value that, and I think sometimes I don't go so much deep into that, to hear actually what are the pain points for me, what does balance mean for me, what projects are priority to me before I dive into somebody else. I think this, I want to be clear for me first. What do I want? And who do I really want to navigate as? What are my top intentions? I want to have a conversation with myself. I'll either do that through writing, through journaling, really putting down, or even recording. Sometimes I do speak to myself and listen to my thoughts and think, girl, you were crazy. That actually isn't what happened. But I do that, and it helps me to gain perspective. The second one would be with my partners, the people that I put it as a collective, the people that I've started to work with in some of the projects that I'm doing. These will be important interactions in order to keep doing what we're doing. So Claudine, I look forward to having more conversations on that with the tribe, with people that really power me. That's what I would coin the partners, the tribe. I look forward to having interactions with these 2 groups, myself and the partner tribe.
Thank you for that, Claire. I see that Shin just joined us. So I'll just quickly touch on what I had said before coming to this question. And we are now in the second part of our webinar, which is about being intentional in your interactions. So my first slide was the first step to be intentional in your interactions is really thoughtful time. That you first need to evaluate, what are my intentions? How do I feel, and what specific activities do I actually expect to happen from that interaction? So those are always your 3 most important questions when you are in your thoughtful time before diving into any interaction, because as I said before, where there is no thought, there is no direction. So you always need to reflect, have some thoughtful time before you dive into your interaction. And yeah, on the question of what are the 5 most important interactions you're going to have next week, for myself, it will definitely be my manager. That's one of them. My other one is definitely my work colleagues, and also in my personal space, I would say my mother, my friends. Those are the most important interactions that I'm going to have next week. And given the current environment with the lockdown and all that, I always find that my intentions are quite different. They are not quite what they used to be before. So for example, with my friends, my intention is to make sure that I'm there for my friends and they can understand that even though we are not able to be with each other, I am still there supporting them virtually. How I feel, I always analyze to see, okay, how do I feel about that? And then what activities do I actually want to do? Do I want to be able to be checking up on these friends twice a week, this means that whenever I call them, I'll make sure that before we end the call, I'll always say, hey, I'll check up on you again on Friday. Like for me, this is how I go about it. So I'll move on to the
Thank
next.
you, Claudine. Just before we move on, I saw Jean just joined. Jean, I don't know if you want to put out a word of yourself. I know you're doing amazing stuff with the foundation you just founded as well, which is on the same track on women. Maybe you can let us in on that a bit as well. Jean, are you there?
Hi, yes, I am here. How are you guys?
We good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Greetings from Berlin. It's very cold here right now. And I'm so sorry to have joined late. But yeah, I was also busy with some few other things. But yeah, as Claire has already mentioned, I just recently founded an organization here in Berlin. It's called SHE, which means Securing Health Empowerment. And although it's based in Berlin, it's going to be mainly working with schools in rural parts of Africa. So we're pairing up with the different schools so we can help girls stay in schools and our project is mostly directed towards eradicating period poverty. And so with the girls in these schools, we're going to be donating reusable pads so they can actually stay in schools, as well as do a lot of different empowerment workshops here in Germany, as well as back their homes. Here, mainly to just raise awareness, and back home, and also just to make the girls, some of the trainers come here to have some kind of exchange of knowledge with the people in the German society, maybe the gynecologists, the midwives, and other educators also around here. And also, I think it will be a great experience for the women, of course. And yeah, so we're going to be doing this in different communities around Africa. But the first project is in Zimbabwe, because that's where I'm from. And then we're going to move to different other countries afterwards. Yeah. So, yeah.
Wow. Thank you
Just
for
basically
sharing
it in a
that.
nutshell.
That's absolutely great work which you're doing. And when the country opens up, maybe I'll come for a coffee because
Yeah, please. That would be great. That would be great. That would be great. You're always welcome. And I mean, I'm always great, always open to also meeting up with other women and entrepreneurs also, just to exchange ideas, also learn what they're doing, and, just, encourage each other, and also just figure out how to grow our networks and collaborate and things like that. So it would be really great.
yeah, I'll make sure to do that because I'm not so far from you. I'm in Cologne.
Ah, okay, okay. Oh, wow. Well, you have no excuse then.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Jeanette,
That's
do
awesome.
you have
Thanks,
something to
Jean.
add?
Appreciate that. Absolutely.
Yes, of course, of course. And Claire as well, please. We need you here.
Long time waiting.
Yes, definitely, definitely, definitely. I mean, I think the last time we saw each other was a really, really long time ago. So it'd be great to, also bring each other on our journeys. So that would be great.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I'm going to unmute myself a little bit because I have some people talking nearby, and then I'll unmute again. But I'm listening. I'm listening.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. We'll move on to the next part of diving into your interruptions. So, and this is what I like to call emotional labor. So, when you think of the word labor, labor basically means work or something which you put a great deal of effort into. So, in the same way, emotional labor is about how draining is a certain interaction to you, because we all know we're not machines. So be it you're dealing with your work colleagues, be it you're dealing with your kids, with your family, sometimes we do feel the emotional labor. The only difference though is that emotional labor worth it or not? So I always like to say, you always need to look and say, how much emotional labor is this interaction costing me? And is it worth it? So for example, the emotional labor which you go through with your kids, if you're sleeping and they wake up at 4 a.m. and come and say, Mommy, I'm up, I want to play. That is emotional labor for you, but it's absolutely worth it. So this is emotional labor which you go ahead and do with a smile. There is emotional labor which you need to put in at work. If there is a project which has to be absolutely done and finished the next day, again, you ask yourself, this is costing me, is it worth it? You always need to ask yourself those questions, because if you do not, you will always drain yourself, even in situations where you don't actually have to. Toxic friendships are an example. If you're always putting in a lot of emotional labor, it's costing you, but it's not worth it, then cut it out. You do not need that. So with every interaction you do, make sure to gauge and try and measure the emotional labor which you have to put in. And the last question really is there a cheaper way? Do you need to put in that emotional labor, or can you do without it and just take a cheaper way? So in every interaction, before you have any conversation, be aware of how it makes you feel, be aware of your energy levels. And if you feel that something is draining you, go back, reflect, think about it, and think if it is really worth it for you. So I'm sure that we have all had situations here and there in all our different aspects of life where a certain conversation really drains us. And sometimes you're just left there standing and just waiting for the person to finish because you feel like you can't really stop the conversation or take things into control. But it's not always the case. Be intentional in your interactions. So then I'd like to move on to the next question to say, in the 5 interactions which we identify for next week, can I have the next slide, please, Claire? What is the emotional labor of all those situations? So for example, we had Bimbai, she has to go back to work and she probably has to deal with a new superior or a manager. I'll say this is probably a situation with a lot of emotional labor, but it is definitely worth it, because this will be an interaction which she has to have in order to understand what's the way forward, how has the dynamic on my job changed, how are things going to be from this day forward. So it has a lot of emotional labor, but it's absolutely worth it. The same goes with the work colleagues. To ask yourself, it will probably be a training situation. Everybody is grieving a bit. Everybody is trying to come to terms, but it's absolutely worth it because they are all dealing with the tragedy. In my case, I had stated that this week, some of my most important interactions are with my boss, with my mother, and with my friends. So it's the question of, out of all those 3, with my boss, I know, okay, I have to listen, I have to do what I have to do. With my mother, yes, but with my friends, if I am feeling drained, then definitely this is not an interaction where I'm willing to take the emotional labor. So what will be the cheaper way for me? Maybe the cheaper way for me will be to then postpone this phone call up to next week if I'm really feeling that I'm not up to the task. So diving into your interactions, look into the emotional labor and decide if it's worth it or not. I'll move on to the last part, which is applying yourself. So it was 3 pillars. You had your thoughtful time, and then you had your emotional labor. And then last but not least, it's always about applying yourself. So in order to apply yourself, you always have to be aware of yourself, like how are you acting, how are you feeling, and why are you acting that way? Because sometimes we are all dealing with different things and we are not really able to be intentional in our interactions because we've got other situations which we are currently dealing with. So Yemurai, I've got so much respect for you, because even though you were dealing with such a family tragedy, you still said, girls, I'm here, it's fine, I'm ready to go, which is really strength. For some people, they might feel like when they are in that position, they're not really able to deal with other things. So, or they might find themselves acting in a different way, being short-tempered, not being able to really concentrate in on conversations. And this is not because they are just not tuned in into that conversation, but it's just because they are feeling a certain way because of other actions. And also the most important thing really, as I said before, is to always think before you speak, because those are the best conversations when you give yourself a bit of time to gather your thoughts before speaking. Honest self-reflection is also good. So if you have had a meeting and you go out of it, take some time to reflect and be honest. So don't always lie to yourself or try and make yourself feel better. Try and be honest about how that interaction went. Were your intentions right? Were your feelings okay? And did the activities which you set out to do, did you actually do them, or were you not able to? So this self-reflection is always very, very, very important. And to always have the concrete goals and activities. So never just go blindly without direction. Always have a concrete goal and concrete activities. I still go back to my networking example to say, if I go to a room knowing that today I want to network with 5 people who are graphic designers, that's my intention. And if I set and say, okay, I want to get 5 business cards from those people, those are my activities. So if I went into the interaction, applied myself, and then when I go out, I don't have those business cards, I have to self-reflect and ask, what happened? Why was I not able to get those business cards? And then be able to correct my activities accordingly. So always remember that. Concrete goals, specific goals, and activities. I will move on to my next slide. So here we can see what we basically covered under the chapter of being thoughtful, taking the time to actually look at your intentions, feelings, and behavior, taking time to look at the emotional labor of whatever conversation you're going to have, and also applying yourself, because everything which we do needs us to really give us our 100%. If you're having a conversation with somebody and you are tuned out, they can tell that you're not really applying yourself in the conversation, and the results which you're going to get from that interaction are going to mirror your activities basically. So this is what we covered in this chapter. And I wanted to give you a tool before we move on to that chapter of how you can actually set your intentions. I'll wait for it. Okay. So this is how you can be intentional in every interaction which you have. So this does not matter if it's within the business setup, at home, or within the social setup. The first thing is to always set truthful intentions. Once you have truthful intentions narrowed down, then you need to understand, why is this deeply meaningful to you? So for example, if you are at a party and you see this lady and you're like, oh, I want to talk to this lady. Why do you want to talk to her? Is it because you want to be her friend? Is it because you want to be her business partner? Ask yourself that. And then decide once, remember the side once, which I said, do you really like this lady? Do you really want to be their business partner? Or you just know that they will put you in a different position. So that's not a truthful intention at that point. So you always need to have a truthful intention and know why is that deeply meaningful to you. And then after that, always have the specific activities which you are committed to doing. And after you have narrowed down your activities, it's always important to know when specifically are you committed to doing them. Because without a time frame, you can just continue to interact with people from now in the beginning of the year until December, and nothing will come out of those conversations because you never really set a time frame for yourself. But if you set a time frame and say, this is what I need, and I need to get this done by this time space, then you'll be more intentional in your interactions, and you will start to see that it will change the way in which you're actually interacting with people will change, and you will begin to get more out of those interactions. So that was it on the second part. And now I will hand back to Claire for the third part of the webinar.
Thank you so much. I truly, truly appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to try out the tool. So this is also what we will be building as we go forth. That instead of just the webinars, to be able to share tools and methodologies when it comes to how to lead, how to be more strategic. So I understand that the audience is very different. I see that on Facebook. We have also young students who are listening, who are writing their exams or have finished. So I see that Facebook has a couple of people, and here on the Zoom call as well, we have people doing very different things. So for the third part, really like us to dive into now the doing. I'll take an example of myself, and then also jump to Claudine, that we can spar on this. How do you make impact? You know, a lot of times, I know one of the person who's listening on Facebook once asked me, what is the difference between passion and purpose, right? And you know, why I mention this is when you want to make impact, you need to be moving just beyond your passion, because your passion is what you yourself feel, whereby your purpose is something that is really beyond yourself. So your passion could be driven by things that give you joy, that make you happy, things you're good at things that reward you, and you feel, wow, I feel so passionate about this. But when you walk in purpose, you are stepping outside of yourself, which means you are serving. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you are always happy when doing that. Yes, you are fulfilled, but there's a certain mountain that needs to be climbed to drive impact. So what I want to focus on this third part is really, how do you make impact, right? Because I think a lot of people who are here have projects. Even those who will listen in the future have projects. How do you go from your intentions, from the people that you're interacting with, from your passion, in order to work to a higher level? And for this, I would love to ask Claudine a question in terms of, you know, you spoke about the interactions that you will have. You spoke about your family. You spoke, I heard the word mother come out so much, right? I also heard the word your manager, the alignments with friends and so forth, and structuring things, right? Um, and that for me was like we were walking together in the forest. Now, what I want us to do is, yes, we have seen the trees, we've seen the interactions we have, we've seen, you know, the what moves us, what is our core element, etc. Now, let's move together and have a bird's eye view. Claudine, when you look at all the things that you mentioned today, what would making impact mean for you? when you're looking at all the elements that you spoke about, your mother, your friends, your manager, the job you're doing now, the projects that you're pushing, and, you know, who you want to be, what would making impact look like for you?
Wow, that's a difficult one, because I feel like for me, making an impact actually means even looking beyond myself.
Yeah.
It would mean going beyond my self-interests and actually catering to some of those of the people around me. That is what will, yeah, make an impact for me, for those people. So it means giving a piece of myself. I don't know if you understand what I mean by that.
Yeah. Yeah. What does giving a piece of yourself look like when you spoke about your mom?
Well, when it comes to my mom, I guess it's in respect to making sure that she's provided for, right? Making
Yeah.
sure that she's okay emotionally. So I take the role of the caregiver in a way.
Yeah.
That's the role that I see with my mother.
Yeah. Um, I don't want to put you on the hot seat. How do you measure, or how do you evaluate that that's working, what you intend to do?
I guess it's about how I feel at the end of the day. If
Right.
I can go to bed having that feeling of fulfillment of what I have done is fulfilling, then this is how I measure it. It may not be from the other person's perspective, because
Exactly.
she might have the feeling that my daughter can do better, but for me it's about just having the feeling myself that I have done my best and I am fulfilled. That's how I measure it, how I feel.
Exactly. I love that you answered it like this. Why? Because it gets us into the third part, where the third part is really for us, how do we both? Because I also have instances like that where I feel, look, man, I've done my best, but the other person is like, this is just not it. I think I hear it a lot of times with leadership, right? Where people are like, they're always like, it's leadership. You ask people, why is Africa the way it is? People are like, it's leadership, which means people see a gap, right? But probably leadership is going back in bed and they're like, man, this is the best I have done. This is the best I can do. What more do you want from me, right? And then so for me, it sort of goes into how do we close that gap to really make impact for the people we want to serve. And I would like us to think of two elements. We are in the trees. The moment I'm going to bed and sleeping and saying this is my best as a leader, I'm still in the trees. How do you now assess your platform? Which is, it might not be, it goes beyond the mom, right? It goes into all the interactions that you put. How do do you ensure that you are serving and that you are doing the right thing for the people that you want to serve? Because a lot of times, even when creating content, it's harsh, but people are like, it's not about you. People don't care. People probably don't even care about you when they watch content. They want to be entertained and they want to be kept thirsty to come back for more. They probably don't really care about you yourself. So when you want to make impact, how do you close that gap? And I would just really run into the big thing, right? Which is, how do you move from this action into the bigger picture so that you see the map and you can see how your people or your platform are interacting. So I'll just read what's on there. Imagine you're on a dance floor, and while you're there in the dance, you're moving, you're going in rhythm, etc. You think everything's fine. The thing is, when you're dancing, you see only the people you're dancing with, and you don't really see the big picture. And it could be beyond, just the dance floor. It's people's minds. What are they thinking? What drives them? You want to connect with that. And when you're on the dance floor, you're usually just on the rhythm, right? Oh, this feels good. This is right. But you want to move up and really evaluate, what's the bigger picture of the entire thing? Are we doing the right thing? If I'm a leader, am I really assessing the entire forest and not just the trees, or myself? Um, so it requires focusing beyond the task, beyond the moments, and going into spaces that allow you to be tough with yourself and say, why am I sleeping at night? And fine with what I'm doing when I know that there's a gap. And I know it's harsh, but a leader is a leader for a reason. And that's why it's a tough thing to be a leader. Um, so I just want to leave us with some words. Now imagine you leave the floor, this dance floor where you're dancing, and you decide to go up the balcony where there's no noise, but you get to see people. And I want you to imagine it metaphorically, right? Where if you go up the balcony, how do you listen in to not just the music that is playing, but how people are moving their steps? How energetic are they? Are people still dancing? Are they energetic, or are people worn down? You want to assess the playing field that I'm doing. I think for Jean, your foundation, is it doing the right thing? You're on the balcony, you're the leader. For Claudine, you're on the balcony, you're the leader. You want to assess, is what I'm doing the right thing? Where do I have gaps? There's some things that people don't tell you. And what I found out is people never tell you really when things are not going well. Sometimes people keep quiet and wow, things are going great because there's nothing. And sometimes people make noise when things are not well. But sometimes people don't tell you if things are just not right. People are not all people are confrontational. So you need to have methodologies in order to assess, are you really driving the impact? Are you really doing the most beyond the trees? Are you moving the forest in that way? I'm just going to move to what I mean by that. When you're on the dance floor, it's what we talked about. You have interactions. You're one-on-one. You're either a group. You have circumstances. You know how you feel in situations. And you know what your role is. You are communicating. You're doing. You're acting. And then when you go up the balcony, I'll call it the balcony, you are reflecting. It's when you either are peaceful at night or when you can't sleep at night. You're asking yourself, what and why are we really doing this? Are we doing the right thing? You're gathering information. And one of the things I find sometimes is missing, even for myself, is mapping patterns. Because you want to understand, when I'm having interactions, you want to listen to people. And I think, and not to listen in order to push forward a mission, but you want to listen to understand. In the case where Claudine, you said, well, you go to bed and you're like, this is the best I can do. I would say stepping onto the balcony is, tapping into your mom in a very higher perspective and understand, what is it that moves her? What is it that does not make her sleep? What is it that that has worked, that hasn't worked? And sometimes people don't say this with words, but you want to be watching and combining the patterns so that you know that with the next time you have an interaction with her, the next time you're on the dance floor, you know exactly what you need to do because you have listened in, you have understood it, and then you have interpreted it into, wow, okay, now I see. Now this is what my role should be as a caretaker to her, because that's what will drive impact, not for me. And that's purpose. That goes beyond passion. It's sometimes painful because being a leader is just, it's not all rosy, and that's where the refinement needs to be. Are you doing the right thing? Are you driving the impact for the right people? Are you really, really mapping the patterns of impact in the way that you want them to be? I don't want to go too much into detail because I want it to be an exercise that each person does for themselves. It's what I'm currently doing. For example, at work, I'm hiring, and one of the intention I had was I wanted to hire um, a marginalized person. I wanted to hire a female, and it has proven very hard. And what I've had to do is map out patterns, is to go out and actually start listening and understanding the talent acquisitioners so that I can actually serve them for us to drive the impact, versus me just pushing and then communicating, this is what I want to do, I'm looking for this profile. I'm actually starting to listen to what their process looks like so that I can impact that process, because that is what will drive the results. So I understand now my role in this whole dynamics, versus demanding what I want, you know. It's not as easy as that. Um, and that's still in the pipeline. I'll tell you, I still haven't found a female for the role that I'm hiring for. And it's still a process. So I'm still going back on the balcony and coming to the dance floor, refining, coming to the balcony, going to the dance floor. Um, and for students, I mean, it's not just for professional life, but for students as well. What impact do you want to make beyond your grades? Because when you're studying, when you're in that action you're doing, you have your role as a student. But what's on the balcony? What's the bigger picture of your studies? So that they are useful not just to yourself, so that you move beyond that passion of, oh, I'm excited about this, to, oh wow, I've really understood this person and I want to help them, right? Um, so I don't want us to dive so much into the detail, but I just want to leave a message to us, which is in the next couple of weeks, please take time, if you can, to draw and visualize your balcony. What are the things that you might not have, you know, that you might have missed, to the people that you say you want to interact with? What are they saying to you? And not just in words, but what are they, you know, what is it that maybe they're not saying to you that is useful to interpret your role when you go to the dance floor, with them? I would like us to do that more. You know, draw your dance floor, visualize your balcony moments, and it takes time in the balcony. I think we need to spend more time on the balcony, and to go back and forth in order to close the gaps there. So get on the balcony from the dance floor and obtain high level perspectives and be still engaged in the whole dance itself. And I think that's one way. It's not the only way, but that's one way you can make sure that you are assessing if you're actually making impact. Um, that's my vision for us all, that we make impact, that we're not just passionate women, that we're not just bold women and loud about the things we care about, but that we really do the things for the people that we say we care about, that we understand them. And it might mean having to refine how we do things, in order to ensure that we're dancing that rhythm, of impact and moving to purpose. So I give the floor back to Claudine and say, wow, we have had a lovely session. I took some notes. I had a lovely time. And thank you so much. Claudine, the floor is yours too.
Yeah, thank you so much, Claire. I just wanted to say, even though we are co-hosting, I was also like, I got some gems from your session as well. And for the people who really joined us a bit later, I mean, the first pillar we had said, start with your settle, actually. Look at yourself and look at actually what is really happening around you, right? And then from then on, we then moved into how to be intentional in your interactions, like how to really dive in. And now with this part which Claire was explaining, even for me, I actually discovered that learning is a never-ending tool, because these things which you're saying, Claire, about always going back and forth, because I find that, yes, at some point I was on the dance floor and moved to the balcony to have this aerial view of what's going on. But then I don't think I did the back and forth to then go back again to the dance floor and then shift up back again, because things are constantly shifting. So I think for me, that's really the biggest take point, to say, don't stop there. It's just a continuous process which you need to keep on doing over and over and over again. So yeah, thank you so much for that.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. I still see Jean in the call and Yemu. Maybe you guys have something that you'd like to share before we round up and share with you some things that we have planned for you.
Okay, so I think I'll go first. I can't really see everyone who's inside because I can see the screen being shared. But unfortunately I did join in late, but I'm hoping to at least get, because I can see this is being recorded. So if you could share it somehow, then that would be great, so that I could also just like catch up with what you guys already did. But I mean, just from the remarks you're making now, just the summarizing ones, I really, really think this is very essential, to be always reflecting and looking back on the journey, like always going back to the drawing board. Okay, so why did I create this? What are my intentions? What is the purpose for this? Who am I? Who's my crowd? And all these things. So I think it's very, very important also. And this is what I have to now take from all of this, because I think it's going to really help me also with She. So yeah. But I also hope you guys can read more about it on the website. And if you guys have any input or ideas, I'll be more than happy to listen.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we are happy to do that. And we'll absolutely do that. You're close by, so we'll definitely be meeting person to person soon as well.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. And thank you so much for also this opportunity to listen in and exchange ideas, and also hopefully meeting now, making these new connections. So thank you.
Oh man, my heart melted. Thank you, thank you. Yemu just said her baby's awake, so she just sent her thanks and said she has written notes, and she will be getting in touch. So thank you, Yemu. We really appreciate you so much, and say hi to baby for us. Um, Good. I think my camera gave up again, but no worries. We will move on, and here I will let Claudine lead us into the exciting stuff. I'm actually super excited about this. Jean, I hope you're on Clubhouse, because we want you on Clubhouse, man.
Actually, I'm not, but I keep getting people who keep asking me to join because they still have invitations open and stuff. So, but I definitely will.
Okay, then please, Jin, you need to get that invite before Tuesday.
Okay.
Because we are also hosting every Tuesday on Clubhouse at 6:30 GMT. That will be 19:30 German time.
Okay.
Bold Women Leaders room. And the most interesting thing now, we've had this room going for 2 weeks now, and it's not only women who come into the room, but men also. And the types of topics which we're discussing in these rooms are basically around women leadership. So what challenges do we have? What makes us a better leader? How can we improve? And last week, I remember our topic was all about what makes a great leader. Can everybody be a leader? Is everybody a leader? And what are the core skills to be a leader? And because Clubhouse is still very exclusive to iPhone users only, what we are doing is we are actually taking notes in the sessions and putting them up on the website as well. So for the 2 sessions which you've already had, you could then go to the website Clior Larni and you will be able to find the notes from those sessions there. but yeah, encourage you guys to come join the room. It's so much fun, and you always get to get real-time input from amazing people all over the world, and we just have so much fun. So yeah, that's what's happening on Clubhouse every Tuesday. And um, we also have, Claire, I don't know, do we also have the African leaders room?
Yes, we also have the African Leaders Room. And, for you, Jean, it might be interesting if you have your foundation and you have certain topics that you want. We can also just bring them in to see how people think and have a report that can be useful to you. So we're very open in the way we can partner with people. And what actually came up, I just remembered there was one mention of a young girl who's under 13, I believe, who made this menstrual blanket.
Yes.
Actually, that might be interesting to you. So these are things that are coming up
Yeah.
in these sessions. I don't know if you're aware of this young lady.
No, but I mean, there's been so many people actually with a lot of new, incredible state of the art, into innovations and things like that. So there's been so many people, and also even in Zimbabwe where I'm starting. So yeah, I think I'm open to reading more and more and more and more. I think also because before I really started putting so much input in this area, I didn't know
Mhm.
as much information, but then now that I am, there is a ton of information that I actually had no idea of whatsoever.
Oh my
So
gosh,
I'm also on a
absolutely.
journey of learning and learning more and more each day. So yeah, I'll
Oh my
definitely
gosh.
join the clubhouse meetings, so for sure.
Yeah. That is awesome. Yeah, and there's more there. So we have, yeah, and the report is there, which
Hmm.
we're doing the whole sessions. We do Tuesday and Thursday, like
Okay.
Claudine said. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and the last thing, actually, we recently launched the Sister Sister podcast. So our first episode premiered today, actually. So please head over to Spotify also and listen to the conversations which we are having there on the platform. So sometimes, really, we are also taking conversations which we've had in the clubhouse room where we feel like we still need to talk more on them, and we just take them out of clubhouse and have them on the podcast. And yeah, we are all about creating this safe space this year to just discuss these topics, as we are saying, to just continue motivating each other, continue inspiring each other, and just putting out the information. So yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's the end of our webinar, right, Claire?
That's it. And I mean, what is there is for today. I think I personally learned a lesson. We were so fragmented because some people were on Facebook, which was fine, but I think people had issues with the link. So we will look into that in order to make it more seamless, and then see how to bring people more on this Leaders Academy, in order to bring more women together, and that we stay connected and build up on the conversations we had. What we'll do is definitely have the material. It will be all accessible, the presentation and the webinar as well. And that's what we will have for you. And because we had a couple of questions in order to guide the reflections, what we will have, and we'll give all the participants who came in just their own personal reflections cards deck, which has all the questions that we used today to guide the reflections. And like Claudine said, there are tools that we shared. And I think, Jean, you're also doing your assessment. You said you're going to go into the drawing board, etc. We will also share some tools that you can use that might be useful for you, templates that are, able to guide you in your drawing board session. So we will just send that as a package to all the attendees. And thank you so much for joining us. If you need to reach us, I think we are available. We're on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on all possible networks you can think of. And this will remain our platform as we go forth, where we partner with other people that are doing amazing things when it comes to powering women, girls that need this. And we all need this. I think we all need a tribe. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate all of you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And see you in Clubhouse, Jean.
Yes, yes, definitely. See you there. See you there. And thank you so much also for the cards and everything and the support. And also congratulations with your podcast that you published today. So very good.
Yeah, give us feedback. We're open for that. It could be critique. We're open for everything.
All right, no worries, no worries. I'm sure you're great though.
Cool. Thank you. Have a good Sunday.
Thank
Yeah.
you, and you too, guys, and happy Valentine's.
Oh yeah, happy Valentine's.
Good night.
A good time to love yourselves.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What did you do this weekend?
Well, a friend of mine is leaving. She's from Brazil, and she's
Yeah.
leaving Germany because she wants to go and launch a new brand in Brazil. So we
Yeah.
kind of had a get together last night, had some food, danced a little bit. And tonight, we're meeting soon. Actually, we're just gonna have a small dinner and just like more of a farewell thing. But yeah,
Mm.
nothing so much.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, I received some flowers and stuff. So it's nice. So good surprises. So it's a very good time actually. So yeah.
Oh, thank
But
you.
then it's also still very cold, so we're all indoors. And because also of Corona, we're all trying to uphold the restrictions and the guidelines and things like that. So yeah, we're just doing what we can.
Oh man, wish you so much fun. I have fun when I'm watching your Instagram stories. I love them.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Alrighty, have fun
All right,
and catch
then,
you
ladies.
later.
Thank you so much for this and enjoy your evening as well. And let's keep in touch. And I'll listen to
Absolutely.
the podcast and join the clubhouse.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna keep your word on this. I'm gonna bug you next
Of
week.
course,
Because,
please do that. Please do that. I like that. So yeah. I mean, I really do appreciate that women coming together and empowering each other as well as like I mean, even if there's men and things like that, but encouraging female entrepreneurship and leadership and just getting better and better. I think it's good. It's a good thing. It's a very, very good
absolutely.
thing. And also right now, like I don't know if Yemo is black, but like black women too, I think
Oh
it's
yeah.
a very good thing to be supporting each other.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
thank
And
you
yes,
for the
she is black.
opportunity and the
Yeah,
platform.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
Alrighty.
All right.
Happy Valentine's. Ciao, guys. I
All
will
right. All
end
right
the
then. Ciao.
I lost my video capability. So
Session is still recording. Do you want to stop that first?
yes, I will end. I guess it will end the meeting and then I will meet you in a bit in another call.
Okay.
All right. Ciao.